Time now for our big talking point, and it's the rise of Chelsea. Farah, as a Chelsea fan, you must be delighted. Did you see this coming this season?
Delighted, yeah. I mean, if you look at my BBC top four, it was Arsenal, Liverpool, City, and I put Chelsea in fourth. So I think as a Chelsea fan, that was something that I was wishful for. Did I think we'd get there as quickly? Probably not. We're there and thereabouts in that top four. If we can stick it out till the end of the season, it will be brilliant. I can understand why Chelsea players are not quite saying they're title contenders. I think, we haven't seen this consistency from a Chelsea team in a long while. I think the job Maresca's done with this team has been exceptional to get them up to speed to where they are now. I mean, just hearing Chelsea fans midweek at Southampton singing, we've got our Chelsea back. It feels that way a little bit with the performances and results that are going for us.
Yeah, he's done a great job. How has Enzo Maresca done this and got those players gelling so quickly, Martin?
He's done it really well. I mean, you think about all the players that they've bought. OK, it's £1 billion, I think they've spent, the new owners, since they've been there. And he's really sorted it out. Fair consistency, OK, 1 or 2 changes. Last game was 7 changes they made. That was really impressive because it's been like a midweek team that's played in the Cup and in Europe. But on a Saturday, it's predominantly the same team. I really like Palmer coming from the right wing to sitting off the front. That's his game. He's a game controller, so he has to be central. Madueke on the right, and Neto is a nice little competition there. Who's going to play? Lots of competition for places. And they've settled down now and they've started to play really good football. I don't believe it when Palmer says we don't have a chance of being champions, because Chelsea, that's what you go there for. That's the expectation. That's a football club that's been winning lots of trophies since the turn of the century. They are a top club now, and they will feel behind the scenes that they can go for it, but they will tell everybody around them, no, we're not ready yet. But they're there to pick up the pieces if Liverpool falter, and of course Arsenal as well.
Some people may say, well, they should be in the top 4. They should be chasing down Liverpool, for example, for the title, given how much money they spent.
Yeah, I think if you base it off, the money they spent, then yes, you can argue that. I think if you look at what they've brought in with that money and how much they spent on young talent to have a team that is going to be the future of Chelsea, next five years or so, I think you could argue financially, yes. In terms of personnel they brought in, you could argue no. In terms of Premier League experience, I wouldn't say they brought players in that have that in abundance. I think if you look at Arsenal a few years ago when they started to rebuild that young squad, and people said that because they're so young, they're having consistencies in their performance. We saw that with Arsenal, hence why they didn't go on to win the league when they had that gap ahead of Manchester City. That's where Chelsea are. They have young players that they're going to be inconsistent with performances and results, and that's probably why they don't think they're quite ready to challenge. I think if you look at the points, and more level points of Arsenal, 7 behind Liverpool, if we're putting Arsenal in that title challenge, then I can see why people would argue Chelsea are there. I think there's some inconsistencies that will come with Chelsea. Level of experience where?
Well, Fernandes is a World Cup winner.
Okay, let's talk Premier League.
Yeah, but let's talk about but winning is winning. So, like, they've had that experience. They
paid
100 million for him because of the calibre and because he won the World Cup. That's what you're buying. You're not buying bottom shelf. You're buying top shelf players.
It took a season for Caicedo, 105 or 15 million or 5 million. It took a whole season for Chelsea fans to accept the price tag that was put on him, because we didn't see what we're seeing this year with him. We didn't see that Brighton player come to Chelsea last season.
We have to credit the manager.
He's starting to fulfil that this season. Of course, systems, formations, managers, and what they do with players will bring the best out of you. You could say Enzo, we haven't seen that. We've started to see goals with him.
But everyone's a better player now with the new manager. Even Jackson.
Jackson was like that last season.
He couldn't score goals last year, but now he goes through on goals. He looks like he's...
But also, he's timing his runs much better.
He got into double figures last year. I think he's a young player. He's still a young player.
He missed a lot of chances last year.
Of course he did, and he does this year.
One thing I'd like to ask you, Martin, you've been there, right? You've been there and you've won a Premier League title, so you know what it takes. When you look around that dressing room, you've often told me what it was like in that Arsenal dressing room when you looked around and you saw World Cup winners and you went to Old Trafford thinking, we're going to win this football match. Have Chelsea got that?
It almost feels too new for that to happen, but it can happen in an instant. There's no doubt. When Wenger turned us around, it was overnight. We felt we were different animals completely. That feels like it's happening at Chelsea now. The fan base, the club is all geared for success, so it can quickly return. And I really like what Palmer does, what Jackson does now in tandem. They are a very difficult opponent right now. Nobody wants to play Chelsea. Big games this weekend determine where they're going to finish, but they're very much in the running for this Premier League.